Hey guys and girlies, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Today we're going to be fitting a water block to a Titan. Now, it's an XSPC Titan block, which we have here. I've already got it out of the box. You do get all the fittings that you need, thermal pads for the memory, all that kind of stuff, fittings for the block here. You get all of that inside the box. I'll just show you quickly. You always moan normally that I spend too much time unboxing stuff, so I got it out ready. You've also got a pair of LEDs there to light the block up with, your thermal pads, some thermal paste, and then as I said, the fittings and the covers for the blocks. So that's that. We don't need to be looking at that anymore. So there's the block that we are going to be fitting. Now, on the back of the PCB, there are memory chips, and as I said when we first did it, would have been great, especially for the price that this came with, if it came with a backplate. So what I've also got is the XSPC backplate, and it's a very simple affair. You have to put a bit of foam up one end, and then it just screws on, and you can see the little raised sections here for the memory. There are thermal pads for it, but essentially it will just go on like, which way round, Thomas? There we go. It will just go on like that. And obviously we're going to be fitting it with the block as well. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to get all my tools and everything ready, and then I will be back in a sec. Okay then peeps, I've got all my bits laid out separately. I've got the water block at the top here, just out of shot, and the same with the back plate, that's also just out of shot. I've had a quick look at the fitting guide, and now I know us men, we're not meant to. A lot of people call these reference guides, so if you're not, if you need to make sure that you've done it properly, you look at this, and it's kind of, yeah, or a safety guide. There's quite a few kind of different ways of looking at it, but anyway, so you've got it here, you can just rip it all apart. It gives you a diagram to show you where to put the thermal pads, and they are pre-cut, which is quite nice. So it shows you where everything goes and how to put it back together. We do have the back plate to do as well, so when we put it back together we need to use the back plate fittings. And then tools wise, I've got a selection of tools here ready, but really for this we only need a Phillips screwdriver to take the screws out the back, but something that's good to have handy when you do it. If we were to take all of the heatsink shroud and everything apart, we would need two separate Allen keys. And I do believe it's a 3mm Allen key and a 2mm Allen key that you'd need. We've got some thermal TIM cleaner. I've got thermal paste. Now, my two favourites are MX4 or Noctua NTH1, and I've always got both laying around, so that really depends. Other good things to have handy are some different sized screwdrivers. There's a small flathead there, and then two different sized Phillipses. But if you do this a lot, or you do like taking stuff apart, it can be quite handy to get a packet of these screwdrivers, which have got little punches, micro Phillips, some micro Torxes, and some little pry bits in there as well. These can come in real handy, so we'll put that off to one side as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to film the whole of the fitting, and I'll just speed it up for the bits that just me taking things apart, and then I'll cut back in to when you need to hear me talking. But really, it's time for me just to get cracking and start stripping this baby down again. Right then peeps, so we've got it all apart now. One thing I would say, just for for later on, if you ever do need to refit this, I would put all of the thermal pads back where they should be on the block, because it will save time later. You can also go around and put all the screws in as well. That's a really good practice. And then to stop you losing all the bits, wrap the block in cling film. It may sound like a strange thing to do, but if you do wrap the block in cling film, it'll keep all your thermal pads in the right places and keep them clean and stop them from getting dusty. And also, if you've got all the screws put in as well, it'll stop them being able to remove themselves or fall out and get lost. Obviously, I've been doing this for a few years now, so I've got used to having to keep everything safe. And yeah, that has just become kind of standard practice for me, and it does, when you do need to refit them and everything's there and clean and everything, that's exactly how you want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that off to one side, and I'm going to move all the screws over there too, and then that way when I finished shooting the video I can get it wrapped in cling film and get it all done so it's all lovely. So that's off. I'm going to move that over to one side. Now I just need to grab some, kicking the camera. I just need to grab some paper towel. This is what I always use. And we're just going to clean off the majority of the thermal paste. I've obviously had this block off already, so this was my thermal paste. Just not why it's not dry and too crusty. Just for those of you that have not seen the core before, that there says GK110400A1. Just see we've got a little bit more thermal paste at the side. Now you'll notice I've not used any tin cleaner or anything on that, because to be fair, that's pretty clean. You can use a dab if you want, which I'll show you. You really don't need to use a lot once you've got it that clean. It's just a little dribble, literally just a little dribble on the end of your paper towel. And you go to a clean bit which has got none of the cleaner on, and then you just dry it off. And that's now proper mirror finish. So you really don't need to use a lot of tin cleaner. Also, if you've got really dry thermal paste on the core, something a lot of people do is then flood it with tin cleaner, and for me I'd say that's a really bad idea, because then you just end up smearing it everywhere. Use your paper towel to get as much of the thermal paste off before you use your tin cleaner. If you use it before, it's easier to wipe off, it will clump, it will be dry, you'll be able to drag it all off. And then once you've pretty much got it clean, then use your tin cleaner just to get the last little bits of residue off, and you'll find that's a much better and cleaner way of doing it. Right, so we've got the diagram here so that we can have a look at where we want to put our thermal pads. Now what we do is we get all of our thermal pads out first, and we'll put them up there. Now they are coated with, they've got a plastic film on both sides, so don't forget to take both sides of it off. But while we've got them like this, we can place them where we want them to be. And this is just a good way of making sure we've got them in the right place before we start taking the plastic coating off. Right, so then we want another blue one over there. And then that one goes there. And then that one goes there. So that's our map. So we've got that done following this side. So what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to pull all these pads off. I'll do it with you filming as well. So I'll speed the film up, get all these ready, and then we're almost ready to start placing the block down. Okay then peeps, so we've got all our thermal pads on ready. Now we've got our block up here ready to go on, but the last thing that we need to do is put some thermal paste on, and then we need to get it turned over so that we can fit the back plate and get the back plate ready. Now when you do that, it's handy, especially when you're trying to screw things on, I normally hang it off the end of the desk, but I'm going to hang it off the end of the box today just so that we can keep it up in camera view. So thermal paste, grab some MX4. Now you can spread or you can squid. Doesn't really make a lot of difference. You kind of make your own choice which way you want to do it. So I've put a little bit of thermal paste in the middle of the die. That is probably a little bit more than you would need. Just going to clean the thermal paste off my hands, because where we use so much of this stuff, you can see that, and I've got 2 more of these tubes in the drawer. But anyway, so we've got our thermal paste on. Then what we need to do is put the block on the top. Now you can use the screw mounts as a guide and get them roughly in the right place. And then, like I said about the box, what you want to try and do is hold it in place, turn it over, and then put it on the edge of the box. And I have moved it. Hang on, there we go. Right, we'll also go off that side. Oh no, we won't. Right, so we've got everything lining up. Now what we have to do is we have to start looking at the back plate. Now the back plate does need a foam pad sticking at the very end, as it shows me on here. Needs sticking at the very end. And right, so we know where that's got to go. Also, what we need to do is we need to put red washers down so it doesn't short out on that, so we can do that, and then we also need to put some thermal pads on. So we'll do all of that now. Right then peeps, that's all ready. So what we need to do is, what I would say to do is try and get it pretty much spot on straight away, because you're going to have a right pain in the arse trying to line all these washers up again afterwards. Really it would have been nicer if these plate things on the back were a bit fatter and you just put plastic sticky on washers on. But anyway, we'll try our best. I'm hoping I can get them on and then hold it in place. and get these threads started quite soon. Now what I'm going to try and do is just get them started so I've still got some room to wiggle the washers around if I need to, because once they've all got a bit of thread on, there's nowhere for anything to move. The only reason why we're leaving them not done up is just so that, like I said, if we do need to try and get underneath the block to, underneath the back plate, sorry, to move the nuts and bolts, we can, to move the washers, we can do. It is a nice touch though, I will add, the fact that the back plate does come with the black Allen keys. Just the standard block doesn't. It's just got silver Phillips head screws. So I really like the addition of these for the back plate. It does give it a much more, or a much higher quality feel. So anyone looking at getting one of these, I would say the back plate is a complete no-brainer. I think we've got away with getting all of these without having too much of a drama about moving, so I'm going to sit down again. Right, now the one thing I will say is I'm just going to get a bit of thread on these last few. One thing I will say is the 4 screws in the middle are obviously for the actual core itself. So with these ones I would go through, get these nice and tight, do opposites like you're going to be doing a car wheel nuts up. And then from there on in, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. I'm just going to do the go outside in. Oh, I didn't actually get that one started. I've just got it off screen just to get it lined up. Right, apologies. This one hadn't quite grabbed hold of the threads on the other side, so I just got that one done. Right, the only other thing that we need to do is up here on this part of the card. You can see I should have done this before I put the block on, and I've only just realised because there's a nut and a bolt in the package. and I should have done this before, and it was something I missed. But it's something we can get on now. All I need to do is get myself a pair of long nose pliers. Trying to do this on camera is going to be rather difficult, but that's standing up quite nicely, so give this a go. Right, so we've got that one done up and in as well. Should have done that before, but where I didn't use the screws from the other kit, I didn't see it. But anyway, there we have it. In the middle of the screen, Thomas, come on. Now, one thing I will say is if you have a look, let me have a look. There they are, there's one there and one there. There are fittings for you to be able to put this, which is LEDs, and they can get pushed in, and then they light the block up as well. Now these are blue, but you can obviously either change the LEDs on this or make up some of your own, and you can have it light up whatever colour you like. And then when it's in your case, the acrylic area will light up, which will obviously look rather lovely. But there we go, one block all fitted. Now this video is only part of the I say fitting guide or tutorial, whatever you want to call it, just so you can see a block being fitted. But I am going to be retesting the Titan with this block to see whether the water cooling does help with the overclocks and the overall performance of the card. So we'll be revisiting the card as well. And I'm going to be building the loop in the 900D that I have here, which is going to be reviewed on the 16th. This video will be going up before, then the 900D video will be going up on the 16th. So you will be seeing this card in there, and then later, after we've done the case review, then I'll be doing the Titan water cooled review. So I'm kind of lumping a lot of things all in together. But there we go. It's quite a substantial water block, really. I do think that the addition of that backplate makes a hell of a difference. Looks lovely. Really like the black screws on it as well. Obviously with the water block, we've got entry points at the top, on the front, underneath, and then another one at the side as well, so that there's plenty of options there for your hosing. With this side one, you wouldn't necessarily need a 90-degree fitting as well, so you could end up making it look, you know, quite tidy. But anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you there. I now need to get my Rampage bench rig fitted into the 900D and start thinking about radiators and water cooling and all that kind of stuff. So I've got a busy afternoon ahead of me. But for now at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out.